There we go. Welcome to Talk Tuesday, a series dedicating and empowering youth and families. The series is brought to you by Steps Foundation, Inc., where advocacy meets education for the betterment of young minds. I'm Karen Silva, your host and peer educator at Steps Foundation, Inc. This month, we're diving into a crucial topic for teens and their families: college and career readiness. Navigating the path to your future can be overwhelming, but we're here to break it down step by step. Throughout October, we'll explore different career paths, including vocational and technical options, guide you through the college application process, share tips for financial planning, and help you build a resume that stands out. Join us each week as we provide the tools and insights you need to confidently take the steps in your education or career journey. And so I'm going to pass it on to Jackie to start the topic of today. You're still muted. If you're talking, you're still muted.
I'm sorry about that. Hi, guys. How is everyone doing tonight? So, tonight we're going to talk about building a strong resume and trying to move my Zoom and interview skills. We're going to build off of what we ended on last week, which was financial planning for college. So let's get right into it. Our first question tonight is, what are the key elements that should be included in a high school student's resume?
I'll take that one. One of the first things that I always encourage is any volunteer hours that are done. For a lot of our high school students, they're required to complete a certain number of volunteer hours depending upon their district and their school and things like that. So whatever that volunteer work has been, any leadership opportunities they've had at their school, accolades or awards that they've won with regularity, or even just a one-off, I think is a good place to start when you're coming from a place of not having work experience. What can you highlight?
I love that, Dr. Lytle. So for example, if somebody was working at, let's say, a nursing home, they would want to highlight that, correct?
Exactly. Things like I've seen where some folks have volunteered with children at at elementary schools, where they maybe go and spend time reading to the younger grade or the grade school students. I've seen students who volunteer with community organizations like Steps and things like that, where they are able to list out those opportunities that they've had to engage with the community in positive ways.
Great. Thank you so much. And now, how can
Can I
teens?
add to that? Can I add to that?
Yes, yes,
So,
Smitty,
I,
please.
as the I think the volunteer stuff is super, important. But then to go along with that, and I think we touched on this last week, just about references, and I think that's where a lot of young folks kind of get lost at or hit a roadblock because they really don't know what a reference should be, what should be in there, and who it should be from. So I'm thinking like so I host a resume building session, if you want to call it, and it's specifically designed. Well, it has two different levels. It's one for like first time job seekers, maybe your 16-year-olds to maybe your 18-year-olds, then maybe somebody trying to expand on their resume. But when it comes to references, young folks, look for maybe like your coaches, somebody in the community, right? Teachers are good, but here's my thing with teachers. Go to the teacher that you struggle with, right? And the reason I mean that, the teacher you cool with is probably going to write something nice about you. I think personally, the teacher that you're struggling with will highlight some of the areas like, yeah, he's strong in this or she's strong in this, but you know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to get the right references from the right people. You can't get them from your grandpops, you know what I'm saying? Even though I like to write you one, you can't do that. Look for somebody in the community, look for some ex-coaches. Maybe you did some grass cutting in the neighborhood. Maybe you did some babysitting in the neighborhood. Just things of that nature where they could be like a third party kind of acquaintance, so to speak. So I think references are a good start. But again, I think it's a challenge for young people because they really don't know what a reference should be. So just look for people in the community that might be able to help you out.
Great point, Smith. Folks that can speak to your character and what they've seen you do. Because obviously your mom's your family is gonna always have something, well, hopefully positive to say, but speaking from getting that perspective from people who you've interacted with outside of your family within the community definitely has a larger impact.
Yes, that's so true. So, how can teens highlight their strengths when they have little work experience?
Man, can I just jump in?
Yes, please do.
I love this. I love that this is one of the highlights when I do the presentation for young people that's first time job seekers, 16, 17, 18 years old, maybe even 19 or 20. The struggle is, you know, putting on there what you have done if you've never had a job before. So when I present it, you have to flip the resume upside down and present it to young folks in the sense of it's a selfie. It's a selfie of who you are with filters. That's what a resume is. It's a selfie with filters, right? And so you're going to highlight that selfie. You're going to add to it. You're going to touch it up. You're going to put this in there, this, that in there, right? To make that selfie enhanced, right? So now what you do is once you're building this selfie, you have to have a play on words. And this is where it's helpful to have a thesaurus available, or maybe someone that's a little bit more game savvy when it comes to word salad. What I mean by word salad is you got to mix up the words. With all of that said, just hear me out really quick. If you babysitted, I would not personally put babysit as a class work history. I would put youth supervisor, youth coordinator, youth nutritious coordinator, conflict resolution specialist. These are all the things that went into babysitting, right? It's a play on words. So if you cut grass in your neighborhood, you don't put, oh, I mowed somebody's lawn. You put landscape maintenance tech one, sprinkler installer one, lawn care maintenance assistant. It's the words you use that you put in there, right? And then when you go and let's say you was a volunteer, right, at whatever community event you went to, right? You was a logistics specialist. A logistics specialist is so encompassing. You can put a lot of things under there. Under that logistics specialist, you could have put quality control, staff leader, right? Staff leader is very important because staff leader says that you was in charge of other personnel, right? And so it's a play on words. And I say to young people, if you want to learn this part of building a resume when what you think you don't have work experience, tap in with me. I actually have this slide presentation available for anybody to check it out. It's self-explanatory, but really is just understanding that you take what you've done. I don't care if you babysitted your little brother and that's all you've ever done. You have to build upon that, right? I know a lot of the students I work with are second language students, and their parents don't necessarily have a grasp of the language. So they have to go pay bills. They have to be the moderator, the interpreter. So those are the words you put down. I'm an interpreter. I've been interpreting for 5 years, right? I understand budgeting because I've done that for my parents. Now, you don't say who you've done it for, but there's so many different ways to play the game and make your selfie filtered in a way that it's hard to question. You know what I'm saying? So that's my home run ball right there. And if you guys need any help with that, young folks, tap in with me.
You bring up so many good points, Smitty, because there's so much that we do and our students do and our young people already do that they didn't technically get paid for. So they don't see it as work or they don't see it as a skill set that they already possess. and organizational skills, things that you've had to learn to maintain like if you're a student who's, had to figure out how to make a plan for your time, especially my sports students, like students who manage sports and their grades and those things, like you're already learning team building and also just time management. And so things like your skills with Word and all of those things that are clerical based are important too, because our kids nowadays have been typing since they were babies. That was a skill we didn't learn I didn't learn till late middle school, high school, and so that's something that there is so natural for them now. And all of the gamers out there, please know that when you're out there doing those world building games and coding and things like that, that is a different skill set that you can be highlighting.
If I may say something, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Okay.
We are so happy to hear from you.
Thank you. I hate when I don't always like to feel like I'm jumping in on when someone else is speaking. But just for those who haven't seen me in a while, I'm Jocelyn. I'm back. I just been kind of busy working. But I love this question. It speaks a lot when I think about the word tangible skills. Something that I had to learn post-military are those things that don't always translate over to a resume. Tangible skills can be things as leadership. Most of you probably been in some kind of leadership role, or whether it's Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, class leader, something like that. Also, public speaking. I know Dr. Lido kind of spoke on some things that we didn't do at a younger age, but a lot of you guys are giving presentations. You're your group leader. You're speaking to the principal, the teacher, the other students in the classrooms. So those type of tangible skills that don't always transfer over to resumes are things that are important for you when it comes to networking and being in the business. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So now along with that, with highlighting our strengths and, if somebody has little work experience, some may not know what types of extracurricular activities or volunteer work that they should emphasize on their resume. So what types of extracurricular activities should one add to their resume, and or what type of volunteer work should they add to their resume?
Any and all. I mean, if you're just starting out, young folks, I would say any and all. Whatever you've done, because again, you don't know what you can, if I can throw this big word out there, extrapolate from your past work experience. Extrapolate means to pull out, to withdraw. And so I would say anything you've done. And both the young ladies made, perfect points with just not recognizing what you've done as far as leadership, right? If you've been in a play, if you've been in school, leadership really could happen in the classroom. Maybe you handed out the test, maybe you led your 3-student group. Right. So leadership comes in so many different forms. So I would say whatever you've done, put it on there. I think a lot of things that go, I mean, the simplest things, and Dr. J and Jocelyn made great points. Like if you've been camping, you've done a lot of time management, logistics training, survival stuff. I mean, there's just so many things that you overlook. Well, because I probably did the same thing. We overlook of what we've done. So I wouldn't leave nothing off. I would put it all on there. Especially what those entry-level jobs, even, big burger chains or big chicken chains or big supermarket chains, the more they see from you, probably the more the hiring manager feel comfortable. Oh, okay, this person has some experience, this, that, and the third. I can be more flexible with their schedule because they know many different things. You know what I'm saying? So I would say whatever you've done, put it on there. It can't hurt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when someone is thinking, when these young kids or teens are looking at building a resume, how should they format their resumes to stand out to potential employers or college admission officers?
I would like to kind of tackle this. I know the two professors are probably a little bit more well versed with resumes and building for colleges, but I say reach out to different personnel. Like no matter if it's a dean, it's a teacher, if it's a student. LinkedIn is such a great avenue to meet different people. They can kind of explain to you what the resume should look like because different organizations, corporations, and universities look at well, they're looking for different things based upon the resume. So you may want to highlight a certain thing, or you may want to word something a certain way. So I would reach out to different sources that could give you an example. Most people will never turn you away when you ask for mentorship or help. LinkedIn is very, very good for things like that.
And I think
Thank
I'm
you
just
so
going to,
much.
I think I'm just going to double down and reiterate, the more you can put in there, the better. I mean, if you're going for a specific position, then yeah, you probably want to put some stuff in there. I mean, again, if you're going to work at a guitar store, then you might want to put down your love for musical instruments you've been playing since you was 3 years old. You've been in this band, you've been in this immediate band, you've been in this advanced band. You played with Sheila E. and her dad, or whatever you've done. You want to put it on there, especially if it's very specific. I guess that's what I'm going for. If it's a specific position you're going for, then more often than not, you either had some experience or some introduction to that specific job or position, and that's why you want it. So you probably have some experience there. And if that's what the case is, then put that in there.
Yeah, and I'll just back that. You want to highlight the things that will make sense for the job you're applying for. If you are um trying to work at a museum and you've been in art class since you were little, talk about your what type of media you used, what type of art you've done, what I would even maybe once you get to an interview, maybe discuss things that you would like to get to know or get more information on. Um, and if you have no idea and you're, like Smitty said, looking at just any entry level job, focus on things that are going to highlight your best characteristics, the things that you know that you can do well and you will do well. Things like punctuality, being, proficient at whatever task you've been presented with, maybe even your integrity when when it comes down to things. And so sometimes it's going to be a matter of, I love that analogy of your resume being a selfie because you're showing your best side. You're showing your best characteristics so that you can put yourself in a position to be viewed as an asset for that company.
I love that. I love that. So now let's flip the script. How can students use a resume? I'm sorry, what are some common resume mistakes teens should avoid?
I think Dr. Lytle kind of hit on it. Actually, probably all three of us using different verbiage. You don't want useless information. I mean, it is good to have certain stuff on there, but if it's not relevant to what you're trying to do, like if, for example, if you are trying to work in a guitar shop and you say, I don't know, you used to lead the Boy Scouts for 2 years of your life for camping trips. Great news, but it's kind of irrelevant to the fact of what you're trying to do for the job. So I would kind of stay away from putting too much information because a lot of times when people are glancing over your resume, they're giving it a quick 15 at most second glance to see what they're looking for. And if people have to read too much and have to do too much, they're not really going to pay particular attention to the resume that you submitted.
Jocelyn hit it right on the head. Like
Yeah.
short and sweet, people. That's, think at the end of the day, if you find yourself, especially for newer to working folks, your resume should not be more than a page. If you find yourself where your resume is more than a page, I need to question some of what you have on there, because even at a level where I do have a multi-page resume, but it's filled with publications and other, but when it comes to my work history, even that, depending upon what I'm applying for, what I'm looking for, I will will have a separate resume for that. Honestly, like if I'm looking at clinical positions as opposed to teaching positions, there's a different resume for that. And so you might just need to have multiple baseline resumes, but first and foremost, starting with what it needs to be focused on. What position are you applying for in this moment?
And I'm gonna triple down, keep it short and simple. You don't need a lot. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to run, Apple. So keep it simple. And format, right? Two things about format. Like Jocelyn said, like whoever's doing the hiring, they're setting these interviews up, they ain't gonna sit there and read the whole thing. They look, you got 10, 15 seconds tops to catch their attention, right? So they're gonna look for the format, your name, address, contact information, first and foremost off top, and then what you've done, right? Then the other thing, and this is important, and I would not have believed this if my son did not tell me. My son just did his first hiring for the position for somebody under him. So he was doing the hiring. And he came across a resume, and I couldn't believe it. He was like, Pops, like a grown person filled out their resume as if they was typing it. So it was like abbreviations. And I was like, no, get out of here, Smith. He was like, Pops, I wouldn't even lie to you. Like you have, then that's why I say format. If you got to go get a template, a free template, copy paste, take all that stuff out, put your info in, but don't write it like you're texting somebody and we're using text language. And that goes back to one of the soft skills that Jocelyn was talking about. And if you need some assistance with that, always reach out for somebody, but don't format your selfie as if it was a text message. That's an absolute no-no.
There are too many resources, to be honest. There's too many resources. You need to be spelling and grammar checking. You need to make sure that you've presented this in the most professional way possible. And so think of it as writing a paper for school. So you need to do a draft and then review it, proofread. If you're not sure, have someone else that you trust look over it and provide feedback, because you, again, are trying to put your best foot forward. And so the way you do that is making sure that you've literally crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. And so I love that you mentioned the formatting, Smitty, too, because I think templates are cool and there are a bunch of them out there, but also remember what you're attempting to do, because some of them are real fancy and real fun, but the color's crazy or there's too many designs and it distracts. Again, like Miss Jocelyn said, if I only am looking at this thing for 10, 15 seconds and I can't even get past the crazy, colorful calligraphy on the side, I couldn't even, read anything about what you said. So while it looks cool, make sure that you're not doing too much with the design of it, that that they're not able to see the actual information you're trying to share.
Exactly. And that's what I was coming to chime in on. I know a lot of students love utilizing Canva templates, and Canva templates are great because they're really easy. They're already put together. They're nice and colorful, but employers don't care about the colors on the resume. Like they don't care how fancy the designs are. They're literally looking to see, do your skill sets match what we need? And so that is what they're looking for. Another thing, like I want to say for you guys to look out for, them email addresses y'all making. Make sure that you have email addresses that are conducive to your employment.
Little short boo-boo, ain't it? Okay, like we.
Yes, and I say that because I've seen the resumes where our students are like, listen, y'all, derogatory language is not gonna get you in the door. Look,
you can have your funny and cute thing for your personal email.
Keep it to yourself.
But at least one email just needs to be your first name dot last name at somewhere. Because I feel like, because you're right, Abby. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I see it a lot. And another one that I'll give you guys is, I know when we started, and I say we, those of us that are a little bit older, right? We were taught to put our full addresses on a resume. You guys do not have to put your full address. And honestly, I would tell you guys to steer clear of putting your full address on your resume, because now the environment is not that great. And you're talking about putting your resume on the World Wide Web, where people are actively pulling your information and looking at your address. This is a direct connection to your home. So you guys, you do not need to put your full address. If the employer is looking at hiring you, it will go on your application. All they need to see is the city, state, and zip code. That's it. You do not have to put your full address on your resume, but please make sure you have an up-to-date phone number. So I know a lot of students like changing their numbers, and I know sometimes that's out of your control, but make sure whatever resume you're sending out there has your up-to-date phone number on it, and that you clearing your voicemails out, because employers are not going to call you more than one time. If your voicemail is full, you just missed the opportunity. If you don't check your emails, you missed the opportunity. So if you're actively applying, just make sure, guys, that you are checking emails and making sure that you're clearing your voicemails so that you can receive those messages. Go ahead, Karen.
I was going to talk about the email thing because but you're moving over on the tangent. I had to I had used one email throughout my entirety of high school and middle school. And now that I'm trying to look for a job in the field that I'm looking for, like laboratories and medical scenarios, that email does not cut it anymore. Mostly because it's very not very formal. I use it for everything. I use it for Netflix and Disney Plus and whatever, what have you. But it's not good to put on a resume, I don't think. So I had to create a new email for just work stuff. And it's very easy to do. It sounds more daunting than it actually is. Because especially I use Gmail. Gmail is very easy. Sorry, I talk very loud. Gmail is very easy. I just think I just put my first name, middle name, last name. That was my email. Because the simpler, the easier for the employer to find you. And it's easy. Also, if it's your name, it's also easy because they have that on the resume. So they can just quickly look it up. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. So how can students tailor their resumes for different jobs or college programs?
Personally, I would actually, it sounds very easy, but I would Google the job, right? Because most jobs, when you look up their organization, corporation, they're going to have their mission statement, they're going to have their vision, and they're going to actually outline what the characteristics of that particular position is. And I think it don't get no much easier than that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I would start catering it off of that. Use different filler words. I know kids like to get into that chat GPT. Nothing's wrong with stuff like that. I just think sometimes if it's not organically from you, it can come across very manufactured. And some locations, some jobs, a lot of jobs actually want you to be your authentic self. I know one of the questions in the chat was saying how do you speak about something that's a weakness to you? I agree with Smitty. You're always 100% honest. You just need to come with a solution. You can't just say, I don't work well with being in charge or being in leadership positions. You need to say, I have not had a lot of experience being in a leadership position, but it's a goal of mine to at least lead a team of 3. You always want to come with a solution. You should acknowledge your faults, but you also want to show improvement. But I would definitely start off with just kind of Googling what the job is, Googling what the organization is. And then I will base it upon my actual skill set and those skills that they outline in their vision and mission statement.
And then a tip I have for resumes for different jobs or college programs is when you save your resume, use your first and last name and the title of the job you're applying for. So if you're applying for, let's say, a sales associate at Target, it would be your first and last name, Target sales associate. Because you don't want, if you're applying for, let's say, Burger King, you don't want to send that Burger King resume to Target. They're going to be 2 different positions.
And I just wanted to highlight one of the questions that was in the chat, because someone asked if employers are looking at your social media. Absolutely. And for our young folks who have every page public and, all the things, please know that when you start looking for work, anything that you've posted in public forums that remains public, your potential employer may see and will likely see, because now jobs are being very purposeful about checking social media, and that's how people are getting caught up. So just make sure that you are being aware of what you post, how you post, and who you have on your page, because it's just, at this point, it's more important. Once you get to a place where you recognize it's more important to be employed, you might be posting differently.
I love that question too, because I will tell you guys, as a hiring manager, I have not hired people because of that. And it is, when you think about it, guys, you are representing somebody's brand. You are representing somebody's business, right? So it's no longer about just you, because you are now going to become a representation of that company. So if you out here and look, nothing wrong with, going out, hanging out with your friends and going to the club and taking pictures and being goofy and enjoying life. But once you put it out there for people to see, you're leaving it for assumption, right? And it's about perception and how people perceive you when they see it. It's not just your social media page, okay? It is your friend's social media page too, because a lot of employers will look and see, oh, these are the people that they're hanging out with. Well, let's see what they're posting. And it's your friends that typically post the worst of the worst photos of you, not always you posting it on your page. Once it's out there, it's out there. And I don't care how your friend said, oh, I deleted it. All it takes is one person to take a screenshot and it lives on forever. But is anything ever fully gone? It's not. So yes, it absolutely does matter. We've even fired an employee before because of things that they posted on their social media. So again, it is very much a direct representation of the company that you're desiring to work for. So yes, they want to see what type of energy are you putting out there, because if you go and your whole social media is about cussing people out and throwing up a middle finger, and then you throwing up the middle finger in their company shirt, now people are assuming that that's what their company is about. So yeah, your social media plays a huge role, and not even just your employment, guys. Colleges are looking too.
If I may add something about social media is such a unique tool. I was actually talking to a group of people about that today. I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm a human being. I don't care how many different titles or different things you do. You go out, you have fun, you enjoy yourself. And I don't always want to document it. I don't think I'm doing anything inappropriately, but I let that be known with my friends. And to be honest, I call them my day ones. Most of your friends who are really your friends, they've been around you, they've seen your journey. They don't want you not to go to college. They don't want you not to get a great job. So they'll be quick to say, don't be doing all that tagging with Jocelyn on social media. Or if someone's out with me, I'll ask them, can you put your drink down when we take the picture? And it's like, I'm not judging. I'm not coming off as a prude telling people they can't enjoy themselves. Just don't bring that energy to me. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with it, but advocate for yourself. Like, it's your social media. And she's absolutely right. Abby hit it right on the head. It's never going to be you that downs yourself out. It's going to be the person that wants to take a picture with you. And sometimes it's not always your friends. It's just a random person that wants to take a picture, and they just so happen to be doing the wrong and explicit thing, or they're not doing it with you in the picture, but their profile is very rated R, so just be cognizant. I think in general in life, it really is not 100% about jobs or colleges. Always be careful about the people you keep in your circle, because you may not have the same end goals in life, and you would hate a social media picture to keep you out of Harvard. Just saying.
I love those. Thank you so much. Last one, what are some tips for making great first impressions during an interview?
Grooming. come in ready, dressed to impress. Like, I mean, if it's your church clothes, if it's your, whatever you, but just be clean and well kept. Like, I think that you're literally, before you open your mouth, how you walk in that room or how you come onto the Zoom matters. And that's the first impression that anybody gets from you. And whether they've seen your resume or not, the moment you are connected, either virtually or in person, and you walk into the space, they need to know that you're taking this seriously. And that's what that represents.
I think also go ahead, Smitty.
Nah,
I would say I'm always about dress to impress. I'm sure Smitty is over there laughing in his head. But I do care about my appearance. But what I care about the most is what people remember about me once I leave. So I think you need to be well versed in whatever that topic is. If it's a job that you're really passionate about, that you're looking to gain, you should study up on that job. You should study up on that company. You should know how long that company's been in existence, or what's the top whatever percentage they have for certain things. For me, I work in the sports industry, and I think sometimes people will shortchange me just because I'm a woman. So I make sure anytime I'm going into a meeting, I'm very well versed with stats and statistics, because one thing that's going to always make people respect you is what you're talking about. So if that job is something you want and you're passionate about, study on it, be well versed. When they ask you a question, you shouldn't be mumbling and fumbling. All right, that's all I got.
no. That was spot on, because you stole my thunder, sis. But it's all good.
I feel like she brought the collection plate in, so I need to throw some dollars in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Don't
Oh,
you
yeah.
start.
She stole my thunder. You know what I'm saying? But I will add to that. You know, they man. So a couple things. Come clean. Come dressed to impress. And come clean doesn't necessarily mean soap and water. It does. And again, I might sound like the old man, get off my lawn guy right here, going there smelling like something you've been partaking on, just recently. Now granted, it may be legal in some parts of our society, but in the workplace, it still isn't legal. So just understand that, you know what I'm saying? That's not your first impression you want to come off with. I can guarantee you that. I know you have your right to do what you want to do, but probably not the best first impression. Dress, go suited and booted. That's what I say. I don't care what it is. If you're picking a ditch, be the best suited big ditcher you've ever seen in your entire life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about pride. It's about you. Like, and me and my boy, we used to do construction, and we used to look around and be like, man, there's a job for everybody. And you just got to take pride in that job. And it doesn't, so taking pride, like I see cats work with cats in construction. You wouldn't even know they do construction, because the boys be clean showing up to the work site. You know what I'm saying? They got they work construction outfit, and then they driving to work or driving a home outfit, change boots, the whole nine. So appearance goes a long way. And then the other thing I think, kind of like similar to what Jocelyn said, is practice, right? Prepare yourselves. Practice in the mirror, practice with some folks in your circle, like have them, role player interview. You know what I'm saying? And see how your response is. There's this great saying, I heard it a while ago from an athlete, and I forgot what athlete, but separation's in the preparation. When you prepare yourself, you are more better to separate and then succeed. You know what I'm saying? I have said this to some young folks I was talking to the other day. Because we are conditioned as human, we think practice means sports or acting or something in the entertainment field. We have to start learning how to practice being us. We have to start learning how to practice certain scenarios. If you want to be great, you better practice being great. If you want to be rich, you better practice being rich. If you want to do this, then you better practice doing this. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, Mariah Carey just picked up a mic and was like, no. She was, with the microphone and probably a hair comb or something. You practice, you practice, you practice. You know what I'm saying? Because the number one thing in our society Where people fall short of because they're definitely afraid is public speaking. When you're in an interview, it's public speaking. That's what you're doing. You're put on a stage and you are expected to interact and talk. And yeah, don't cut it. Yeah, don't cut it. Don't cut it. You have to articulate your words, use them, practice them. You know, so one of the questions in the chat was, you know, what's one of your greatest weaknesses? How do you respond to that? You know what, sir or ma'am, my greatest weakness is, you know, I don't like authority, or I don't like to work late, or I don't like last minute changes. You know, you can't say I don't have a weakness. We all have weaknesses, you know, but again, you practice that. Go in there, prepare for them to ask you, what's your weakness? You knew they was going to ask you that, but you didn't practice for it. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? So again, practice, practice, practice. Separations in the preparation. Mark that one down.
I love you. Better come through, Smith. Look,
Oh, man.
look, he added them dollars on top of Jocelyn dollars. I want to say too, you guys, confidence. Be confident in whatever it is you're gonna deliver, right? Nothing worse than stumbling over them words. And we know you get nervous. The interviewer knows that you're nervous. But say what you got to say with confidence. Like it goes a long way, I promise you. And I
So
love
can I say this? Can I say this, sis?
Mm-hmm.
To your point, you got 10 seconds, because Josh said it earlier.
Yep.
You got 10 seconds. You got 10 seconds to sell yourself. So you better be on point with what you're going to say. You got 10 seconds. That's it. Top of the line. And I'm going to say like this to the young brothers out there. When you shake someone's hand, you look them in the eye. And don't come with no noodle limp shake. Shake that person's hand like they know you in the building and you mean business. Look them in the eye. Ladies too. Shake them and look them in the eye.
I was about to say, because us ladies are out here shaking hands too.
Exactly.
I'm glad you followed up for the sisters.
She like, hold up now.
When I shake someone's hand, I shake their hand like I mean business. It's no willy-nilly. Yep.
We got to. And another thing I want to add, because I know we were talking about like how you show up, right? And you show up dressed to impress. You guys do not count out them Zoom calls. Now, I know a lot of you like to put on your best top and then you got on some casual bottoms. I know, I done seen it. And then y'all forget that you got on that casual bottom and then you stand up and they see that you was never fully dressed. So again, go all the way out. Okay, even if it's on the Zoom. I know y'all, I get it. Everybody wants their remote piece and you know, you get happy about it being a Zoom call, but don't forget sometimes your camera shows the whole other half. So just be prepared and be dressed to impress and do your stuff with confidence. So I know Ilani, you ready? Cause it's up. You up.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Talk Tuesday. Whether you're planning for a career right after high school or preparing for college, we hope this conversation provides value insights to help you guide on your journey. The path to your future can be challenging, but with the right tools, resources, and mindset, you can navigate the confidence. Before we go, don't forget to check out the upcoming event of STEP Foundation. We still have room for a program of BBL library and virtually. We would love to see you there. Visit our website for more information and our social media pages. This month, we're starting our 6-week self-care series that teaches the family valuable coping skills to work together. Be sure to register with us. You can find the dates and location by visiting our website at www.stepfoundation.org or by following our social media pages, Step Foundation Inc. Remember the future is in your hands and every step you take toward your goals is progress, whether you're exploring career options, applying for college, or building a resume. Stay focused, stay determined, and know that you have the strength to create the future of your dream. We're here to support you every step of the way. Be sure to check out our website for more resources, and we'll be seeing you next time of Talk Tuesday.